You're listening to the Blue 82 podcast, hosted by Craig and Nicholas. Please like and subscribe so we know that you like what we're doing. And now, let's talk football. Blue 82!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Blue 82 podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Nick, and this is going to be episode 11 of the podcast. We're going to be recapping week 7. Yeah, week 7.
And predicting week 8.
And predicting week 8. We'll go through the injuries and all that like we always do. Before that, I just want to say we appreciate the likes, the comments, the subscribes, the subscriptions. That's probably the better word to use. But, yeah, we appreciate y'all. We had an exciting week of football again. It's getting closer to that point of the year, Nick, where we got teams starting to separate themselves. We got teams fighting to get ahead, start to solidify themselves. Yep. Teams starting to solidify themselves for playoff spots potentially. Teams trying to figure out if they want to play for the year or go for a draft pick. But yeah, you got anything, Nick, before we get into injuries and anything?
Just shout out to everyone that watches and everyone that supports in any way possible. It means a lot.
We love it. We had some pretty big injuries this week. A couple of noticeable ones. I'm just going to start down from this list I got and go from there. Kyle Juszczyk, 49ers fullback, underwent finger surgery and is expected to miss Sunday's game. I don't know if you saw that, but he dislocated his finger and they had to pop it back in place. Yeah, so tough one there. Cornerback for the Chargers, J.C. Jackson, dislocated his knee. And I guess when he did that, he ruptured his patellar tendon, which I guess is some tendon in the knee. He's out for the season.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, that is a big loss for them. Another one, Giants rookie offensive tackle Evan Neal expected to miss 3 or 4 weeks because of an MCL injury.
Big loss for that team.
Wait a minute. Holy shit. Big breaking news just came in, Nick. Are you ready for this?
What?
The Jets are making a big trade, acquiring Jaguars running back James Robinson to help replace injured running back Breece Hall. Draft pick compensation is going back to the Jags. Holy shit. I did not expect this at all.
That is actually kind of crazy. You traded for James Robinson, right? So now you got to be happy.
Yeah, so real quick.
Wait, you traded Breece Hall, right?
Wait, no, hold on. Real quick for anybody that Nick knows a lot about this because I talk to him about all 9 fantasy leagues I'm in at all times throughout the day, year, whatever. But I traded in one of my leagues. I was really hurting for running back. I didn't draft well. I was in panic mode. I was 2-2, panicking, freaking out. I had D-Hop sitting on the bench, waiting out his suspension, so I traded D-Hop away for running back James Robinson. Well, I also had Travis Etienne on my team, and again, I panicked. I should have waited for Etienne to take over and be the running back, which we all thought at the beginning of the season was going to happen. But I panicked, traded for James Robinson. I could have traded for Breece Hall, and I was telling Nick, I was like, dude, I regret this trade. I should have traded for Breece Hall. And then Breece Hall tears his ACL this weekend, and I got James Robinson on my bench just dropping duds. So now with this is massive for me. So that's crazy. I did not expect this at all. They haven't said what the draft picks were, but that is in my eyes, a blockbuster trade. James Robinson is a stud, in my opinion.
What was he, an undrafted player? He can't be probably on a big deal, but I'm assuming his deal will probably be coming up soon, right?
Correct.
Let's check. How many years, James Robinson?
I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he was undrafted and broke out.
He signed a 3-year deal. So he's a restricted free agent now.
So
with that said, he will be 25. He's 24 right now. He'll be 25 next year, free agent.
Wait, so this is actually massive if you think about it, because let's say the Jaguars or the Jets trade away, I don't know, a second or third draft pick, 3rd round, right? Which I feel like is probably fair, somewhere around there, that ballpark. You trade a 2nd or a 3rd round draft pick for James Robinson. You get
essentially
help.
a rental.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. You get help this year. You're 4-2. You're pushing for playoffs for the first time in how many years? You rent him for a year. You let him go. You get Breece Hall back the next year. Like, this is not a bad move by the Jets at all. Like, I'm super surprised. I like it a lot for them.
I'm just gonna say this though, is that are you really confident that you can continue this winning streak? You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Because if you gave up top, I don't like I said, I don't know what the picks are, but if you gave up like at least like a 3rd rounder, then like to me, is it really worth renting James Robinson for 1 year?
I think if you're that confident in your run game and you know that your team is built around the run game, I'm not mad at it. Why not take the chance?
I'm not mad at it
you know
either,
what I mean?
but when you play good teams, they're gonna stop the run. You're gonna have to force Zach Wilson to throw it.
100%. So that's something that remains to be seen. Zach Wilson's coming back from injury. We haven't seen a whole lot from him. Me and Nick have talked about Wilson a lot on this podcast before. So we don't know what... I mean, yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, right? You know what I mean? You're completely right.
It all depends, like, what you gave up to get it.
Yeah.
Like,
I think if they...
Because at the end of the day, you're a rebuilding team. Sure, you're performing above expectations, but is it really worth going all out for that? You know what I mean?
I don't know if I would classify them as a rebuilding team anymore. I mean, I feel like last year, probably. This year, I feel like they're on, like, the other side of that. Because they've already used some of their draft picks. They've made some free agent signings. In my opinion, and I said this to you, all they're missing right now is a quarterback, in my opinion. And whether that's Zach Wilson or somebody else, I think that's what they need. Because in these games that they're going to potentially get into blowouts, I don't think their run game is going to help them. But we'll find out, I'm sure, in a few minutes while we're doing this podcast, what exactly the draft compensation will be. But I would assume it's probably a 3rd or 4th, maybe a 2nd. I feel like that's probably somewhere around the ballpark that the Jags would be asking for him. But this is big, in my opinion. It's a big trade.
I'm just gonna hold on one second. I gotta fix my headset.
Yeah, no, you're good. So, like I said, we'll probably touch back on that trade a little bit as the podcast goes on. I'll get through some more of these injuries. Like we said, Breece Hall tore his ACL last week, out for the season. Okay, so as I'm saying that, trying to move on to something else, it just came in. Adam Schefter tweeted, which this makes it even bigger. Like, this is crazy to me. Jets are trading a 6th-round draft pick that could become a 5th to Jacksonville for running back James Robinson. So they essentially... It's a 6, but could turn into a 5th, I'm guessing, based on...
That's nothing.
You know what I mean? Like, they didn't give up shit for him, and to rent him for a year? That's... Yeah. And I think the reason the Jags probably took that is because they realized what they have in Travis Etienne. They spent a 1st-round draft pick on him, right? To be their running back of the future. They had James Robinson, who came out and did great for him, and is still a really good running back.
I still think the draft pick for Etienne was stupid, but...
No, he should have went... Yeah, that was too high, but I think
he should have
he'll
been
be a good running back.
pick, and the Jags didn't even need a running back. Like,
yeah, no, they didn't.
I still think that was a horrible pick, but now it's like you get at least something back for James Robinson.
No, 100%.
He gets a chance to now start... He can potentially now solidify himself as a top back again. Boom, he leaves. He gets paid now. They get back Breece Hall next year for the Jets. They have Michael Carter as a backup. Like, they basically aren't missing nothing. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
I think for a 5th-round pick, I think that's nothing for the talent that Robinson can be. And like I said, he's only 24. He'll be 25 next year, free agent. So. And
I definitely oversold it, predicting a 2nd or 3rd-round pick, just because I think highly of Robinson to begin with. But... like you said, a 5th-round pick is essentially nothing these days. I mean, yeah, you can get steals in the 5th round and get good players, but for somebody for a rental and your team's 4-2, you're trying to make a quote-unquote push for the playoffs. I know it's early, but yeah, no, I like this. I like this for both sides, honestly. Like, I think it's pretty good. With that being said, any Travis Etienne owners out there, you got to be excited for this, because this really lets you know that that's going to be the guy moving forward as far as, like, fantasy goes. But getting back into the injuries, there was quite a little bit more. Like I said, we talked about it. Breece Hall tore his ACL, out for the season. Brown starting linebacker Jacob Phillips tore his pec during Sunday's loss. Will need season-ending surgery. Giants tight end Daniel Bellinger will undergo surgery on a fractured eye socket. Will be out indefinitely and is uncertain whether he'll play again this season. Mike Williams suffered a high ankle sprain and will miss some time. Jets offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker will miss the rest of the season with a torn tricep. What else do we have? David Njoku is out like 2 to 5 weeks with an ankle sprain. There's a couple more that I'm getting to.
Mike Williams.
Yeah, I just talked
with
about
his high
Mike
ankle
Williams.
sprain.
Yeah.
Trying to remember who else there is. Alan Lazard had a shoulder.
Oh, DK Metcalf is week to week. So no surgery for him. So that should be a good sign. Let's see. I think that's all I have at the moment. But a couple pieces of big news. They said that PJ Walker is going to be the starter for Carolina no matter if Baker or Sam Darnold's healthy. Excuse me. So he's going to be the starter. The other big quarterback news we have is Matt Ryan was quote-unquote benched essentially for Sam Ehlinger. And they said it looks like Sam is going to be the starter for the rest of the year is what they're getting at. Which I don't mind.
The tank train in Indianapolis, I guess.
I don't mind because...
you find out if that guy's Sam Ehlinger is the real deal or you need a quarterback.
Yeah. Another thing I saw this morning that was kind of crazy. Running back Marlon Mack flew from San Francisco to Denver last night so he could sign from the 49ers practice squad to the Broncos active roster, then fly to London today with his new team to play the Jaguars on Sunday.
Jesus.
So Marlon Mack within the last year has been all over the place. He was at the Colts, a backup, a 1,000-yard rusher at one point, ended up on the 49ers.
I was going to say, I feel like he was going to be a decent player, but then it's like he immediately got replaced.
Yeah, he was going to be, like you said, the starter. Then he dealt with a couple injuries, and then we had that Jonathan Taylor breakout a few years ago. And then that's kind of what led to the essential him slipping down the depth chart. So maybe he'll be something with the Broncos. That might be something to look into because their running back room is in shambles with no Javonte Williams. But I think that's all the news I have. Just crazy. I'm kind of in shambles right now because I didn't expect the trade for James Robinson. It's kind of got my mind all over the place. It's crazy. I like it. You got any more news?
I guess we could do something a little bit different. I was going to say, so as far as stats go, so the only, like we talked about way all the time, is that the only stat we care about for team stats is all the points per game, right?
Uh-huh.
So for offensive points per game right now, we have, this is the top 10, I'll just run through them real quick. We have Kansas City, they lead the way at 31.9, Buffalo second, Vegas, Eagles, Seahawks, Ravens, Saints, Bengals, Lions, and then the Browns round out your top 10. All those teams are averaging 24 points or more. And then for defense, again, we only care about points per game. So the top 10 for defense is, again, it's Buffalo, no surprise. They're only giving up 13.5 points.
Jesus.
Isn't that insane?
And their offense is that good. That's crazy.
Their offense is second, their defense is first in points per game. Number 2 is Dallas, no surprise. Denver, Eagles, Buccaneers, Giants, Patriots, Bengals, 49ers, Jets. So you can see why some of these teams are on these streaks that they're on. You know what I mean?
Right. No, 100%.
Like the Jets, they're giving up 19.6 points. That's elite. That's great. 49ers, they were the number 1 team until they had a 40 bomb dropped on their head. They're still giving up only 19 points a game, which is amazing. The Bengals are at 19 as well, so they're tied. The Patriots are only giving up 18.8. Like, a lot of these teams here, like, they're just not getting at the ball. Like, the ones that are crazy to me is Buffalo at 13.5, which is less than, 2 touchdowns a game?
Yeah, that is, like,
and then the Cowboys are at 14.9. Like, that's insane. Like,
did you say the 49ers at all?
They're at 19.
Okay,
they're tied with the Jets.
I just want to point out real quick before you get into what you were saying that The 49ers were averaging 14.4 points a game given up on their defensive side
Yeah,
of the
that's what I was
ball.
gonna say. They were the number one offense going into that game. I
Yeah.
think they had the number one pass defense and number two rush
Everything.
defense. It was number one and the number two, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got that 44 bomb, 40 bomb,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
So
But yeah, that's insane. I guess I should say too. Shout out the Jaguars. They're tied for 10th, I guess, with the Jets at 19.6.
you know, the Jaguars to me, man, like they have a pretty good little team together. I just feel like they're getting a little bit unlucky. Because they're not playing bad altogether. These games are close for them. But I don't know.
But other than that, I'm ready to get into games.
All right. I just wanted to point out real quick that since we are kind of on the topic of talking about trades a bit, the trade deadline is November 1st, I believe it is. So next Tuesday is the trade deadline. So just be aware of a lot of things could be moving. We've had this year, I feel like, especially during the season, we've had a lot of trade rumors, trade talks, trades already happening. Like, it seems like a lot of teams are starting to get to the point where they're not afraid to move pieces. We got Chase Claypool that's talked about getting traded. People are calling Broncos about their wide receivers and Bradley Chubb. Mike Gesicki is reportedly supposed to get traded before the deadline. Kareem Hunt, if I didn't already say that, is being called about. Like, a lot of these, a lot of people and a lot of teams are starting to get a little bit more freely willing to talk about trades and do trades. So we might have an exciting trade deadline coming up.
I think the big thing is a lot of people just don't care about picks anymore.
Yeah, and I mean the Rams showed that. I mean, look what they did. Oh, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
We gotta do the Week 6 Monday night game. I don't remember who it was at this point. Broncos Chargers.
Was it that's who? Okay, sorry, I had to send that text real quick. It was pretty important. Broncos at the Chargers is what it was. I expected the Chargers. I think I even said that the Chargers are going to win by 20. That didn't happen. They barely squeaked out with a dub. 3 points. Again, why the fuck are the Broncos playing on primetime? It just seems to be a snooze fest every game they play. I feel like it's always 16-10, 19-16, something like that, man. Like, I'm just so tired of seeing it. I mean, they have a good defense, so that's why their scores are this low, but it just lackluster performances on the offensive side of the ball for the Broncos. Chargers, on the other hand, me and Nick talked about this. The Chargers are just so, like, depressing, upsetting, like, just something you don't even want to think about or talk about because they're just so talented, man. Like, I don't get what's going on with them. They just need to, hopefully they lock it in and figure it out and maybe get a few more dubs. But we'll talk about them a little bit more in Week 7. But that's all I got for that game.
I mean, yeah, you pretty much wrapped it up.
Yeah. Moving on.
I'm just tired of watching the Broncos in prime time, honestly.
Dude, it's so bad.
Also, I forgot to add in these games to Week 5, so just doing that right now.
Gotcha. So while he does that, we had Week 7 to kick off Thursday Night Football. We actually had some points on Thursday Night Football. We had the Saints at the Cardinals. Andy Dalton threw back-to-back pick sixes, I think it was.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah. Saints probably had a chance in this game if Andy Dalton could have fucking hung onto the ball and not thrown it to the other team. It was looking like it was going to be a pretty back and forth kind of scoring thing. Cardinals kind of got blessed with, granted, the score was like 35 or something to like 15, or it was some like big difference in the score, right? And then the Cardinals kind of just played prevent defense and kind of let them drive down the field a couple times and get a couple garbage time touchdowns. So that's kind of where the score ended a little close. But without those pick sixes, it might have been a completely different game. Cardinals on the offensive side of the ball, though, we talked about it, and I feel like it came true. they looked a lot better on offense when D-Hop was out there. They just looked a lot more settled in, comfortable. I don't know if
100%.
that helped, but yeah, well, I
Just
definitely...
Fuck it, Hopkins is down there somewhere.
I mean, essentially, bro. Last thing I want to talk about for the Saints real quick, something me and Nick talked about earlier while we were playing Madden. We think that Chris Olave is probably leading the NFL right now as far as like the race for Offensive Rookie of the Year. In my opinion,
at this point he's got to be a lock now with Breece Hall out for the year.
Breece Hall got
there's no one
injured.
else he can give it to. Like,
yeah,
unless somehow, some way, like Drake London pops off or something, or even I could maybe Dameon Pierce, or maybe who's the other running back that came out as a starter now?
Kenneth
The
Walker.
Seahawks one?
Yeah.
Yeah, like those two would have to have like elite performances to now beat what Olave's already done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
because now essentially you have to play catch up and then do more.
100%. I think right now if I were to rank it, right, I'd probably say Chris Olave, Dameon Pierce, because he's been pretty consistent the whole year. He had a couple slow weeks at the start of the season, but since then he's been killing it. And then Kenneth Walker is going to be the latecomer that, like you said, having to play catch up. He can maybe get there, but if Olave keeps doing what he's doing, Olave is going to be a lot more consistent because Kenneth Walker, unfortunately, didn't really get to play much those first 4 or 5
You're going to
weeks.
be shocked.
What?
You're going to be shocked. I pulled up now so BetMGM, the one that I always use for betting and shit. The odds are wild. I did not expect this. They have Kenneth Walker as the favorite.
I don't.
I'm not shocked. Like, I'm not like. Wow,
I'm not
like,
shocked at
but
that.
like, as the favorite right now is kind of shocking to me.
I think just because the last 2 weeks he's had as the actual starter, I can see
I feel
why
like
they have
that's
him the
more
favorite.
of
Recency bias.
like what's that word? Yeah, like
yeah, 100%.
I don't agree with that. So Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce,
Okay.
Olave, London, Robinson Jr., Wandale Robinson, Kenny Pickett, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, and then Isaiah Pacheco. That's the top 10.
Interesting.
Pacheco.
Okay, so at the beginning of the season, we had Drake London do a couple games pretty good. Garrett Wilson had the 1 or 2 games. He's been decent since then. Olave's been pretty fucking consistent in my eyes. Kenneth Walker's got the late push, so I can see why they're kind of have him as the favorite, like you said, recency bias.
I think it's a little disrespectful, honestly.
I think Olave should be at least second.
I think you gotta throw some money on Olave, honestly. If it's like that on other websites, Jesus.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. A bad idea. Because if Olave looks like the number 1 target right now. So if he keeps that going and keeps getting fed like he is, like, how do you not give it to the guy?
Actually, I'm gonna save this until we talk about that team, but that's disrespectful. I'll save it though.
Okay. Yeah, moving on, just wanted to touch on that real quick. Next, we got Sunday games. We have the Browns at the Ravens. Ravens almost choked another one. Like, at the end of the day, they almost
that would have been 3 in a row?
4 in a row, Nick.
4 in a row? Would have been 4?
Yeah, the 3 losses they have is the Dolphins, the
Dolphins, the Bills,
Giants.
and then So that would have been 4 in a row. That would have
been 4 in a row.
At that point, even now, I don't even know how you go in the locker room and like you're confident. You know what I mean?
You're not. They're in shambles.
Because if Lamar truly is on the way out, potentially might leave, might not, who knows? Then it's like, what do you do with John Harbaugh? Like, do you keep him around, or is he showing his age now? Because there's a lot of times when I watch this team, they're going for it on 4th downs and stuff, and don't get them. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And this guy won a Super Bowl. It's like, it's wild to me.
I think, and this sucks for me because I'm a fan of Rashad Bateman, but I genuinely think that this Ravens team is missing a elite weapon on the outside of the ball for Lamar to throw it to. I think they are severely missing Marquise Brown on the edge to fucking take the top off the defense. And I know Bateman was out a little bit with injuries, and he was kind of the guy at the first few weeks of the season doing that. But I think Marquise Brown just did it so much better. I feel like the Ravens really need to try to take a swing at OBJ. I'm not saying OBJ is the answer, but I think he would really help that offense because right now, like, they're trying to run the ball and it's working, but I feel like they're just missing something because they should be putting up more points every week, in my opinion, and it shouldn't be these close of games. and they also need a little bit better coaching because you shouldn't be blowing leads like this consistently. You know what I mean? Like something's got to give at the end of the day.
I also want to say that was the most bullshit fucking, what was it, false start penalty on that kick? That was just dumb.
I didn't see that. Like I said,
it was so unfortunate. They were set up for the field goal. I think it was like a 50 something.
Oh, you're talking about the Browns kick?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was stupid.
It dropped it back to like a 61.
Yep, 61.
I think it was, and then they were getting blocked.
Yeah, that was definitely unfortunate because I feel like, I mean, the 61 wasn't close, and I think he can make a 61 because I think he was really kind of close before, and then Cade York kind of has a leg on him. But I feel like 56, he was probably going to make that, and I felt like they would have went overtime, and it would have been a weird game from then on. But yeah, I mean, again, like we've said with the Browns, they're kind of, it seems like they're just missing quarterback play. I mean, they can run the ball. Their defense is doing decent enough, you know what I mean? Like, they just need something else. A lot of these games have been one possession, 3 points, 6 points. So they're just missing something else, and they'll get that when Watson comes back. Next, probably, honestly, the upset of the week. I think. One of them, for sure. Buccaneers at the Panthers. Panthers just traded away Robbie Anderson, traded away CMC, starting P.J. Walker at quarterback, an XFL quarterback, coming in against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers to hold them to 3 points. It's just, I don't even know. This game was baffling to me. I didn't get it. Did not expect it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Tom Brady left his whole family for this shit. We talked about it last episode. His whole family for this shit, Craig. 3 points, not fucking good enough.
Nope.
This man can fucking run his mouth, yell at people, whatever. At the end of the day, he's the quarterback. He ain't making plays. Tons of plays left on the field. I will say, though, I don't know if it was like the first play, maybe it was the second play, but Mike Evans had a long pass, walk-in touchdown, like 50-something yards, 60 yards.
That probably changed the momentum of the game.
Dropped the fucking TD, would have been a walk-in, no question about it, and completely just ruined the vibe. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's an embarrassment at this point, and at some point, you got to find ways to put up points. Like, you have Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, arguably one of the best, like, kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, core
wide receiver core
around you.
Like, just like core offensive, like skill positions.
Like just offensive play.
The best skill positions in the league.
And it's just, you're not even putting up fucking points. Like, it's just embarrassing.
Yeah, 3 points
Honestly,
against.
I don't know. I don't understand like how you like describe it any other way. Against
3 points
this
against
is division rival too, right?
Yeah, and the Panthers are in shambles. They fired their coach.
That's what I'm saying.
Baker Mayfield got hurt. Like
they're on a tank train, like, and you can't even beat them. Like, it's just embarrassing. And what did they lost to Mitchell or was it Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett?
Both of them. Kenny Pickett played at the beginning, and then Trubisky came out at the end.
Like, it's embarrassing at this point. And like we said too, there's also, looking at the stats here, there's also 2 plays into what we've been saying, throwing the ball 49 times. Like, what are we doing?
Not gonna cut it.
Not with the oldest quarterback in the fucking league. Like, I don't know. It's embarrassing. Like, I don't understand like what is going on there. But
is the NFC South the worst division in football right now? 2-5 Saints, 3-4 Bucks, 2-5 Panthers. And what's the other team? I just had it in my mind. Oh, I hate myself. Oh, the 3-4 Falcons. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I don't know how else you describe it.
It's probably the most open division right now. I mean, it's anybody's ball game. Yeah, Bucks need to seriously get on. They need to figure it out. Tom Brady needs to practice more too. Get his ass in the fucking building, because 3 points ain't gonna cut it. Good for you, Panthers. Good for you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, they did exactly what they had to do. They won.
Yep.
Like, I think, what did they do? They ran the ball a lot too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like P.J. Walker threw it 22 times, which again is very low. And then they had Foreman rushing it for 15, averaging 7.9 yards a carry. Chuba Hubbard,
Yep.
9 attempts. He averaged 7 a carry, so he had 63 yards and 9 attempts. Like,
Yeah.
they were just grounding and pounding it all over. DJ Moore? Is it David Moore or DJ Moore?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, yeah. He had a pretty nice day, too, in fantasy-wise. He had, like 20 points, I think it was?
Yeah, which...
Excuse me, something like that.
He's been hurting all season in fantasy. He finally got
Yeah,
the
so
ball.
he had a little bit of a decent game here. Excuse me, my gosh. He had 10 targets for 7 catches, 69 yards, and then he averaged 9.9 a target, sorry.
Yeah.
1 TD. Not a bad day.
That's crazy, too, because...
I also think, too, real quick, the Bucks defense is kind of a letdown, too, honestly.
That's what I was just about to say. The Bucks arguably have one of the best, if not the second best, rushing defense, and they allowed 130 rushing yards. Like, that ain't gonna cut it either. I think the Bucks defense has gotten to the point to where they're just so depleted and feel defeated because they're playing very well in a lot of these games, and Brady's just not putting enough points on the board for them. Like, they have what, like 5 touchdowns on the year?
I don't even
It's
know.
something like that. Like, it's a crazy stat. They barely have any touchdowns. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the Bucks just need to figure it out because you just have like
Talking
Nick
about 5
said,
touchdowns on offense?
Yeah, like they have like 5 total touchdowns on offense.
Where are they?
It's something crazy like that.
They have 124 points in total. I can't see how many touchdowns they have right here. But they're what? 1, 2, 3, 4. They're like bottom 10 in the league.
Yeah. So, it's crazy.
Oh, sorry. They're tied with the Panthers and the Texans for points per game at 17.7.
17.
So realistically, they could be 1, 2, 3, 4. They could be like 6.
Mm-hmm.
6th worst team in the game on offense. And that's probably got to be Tom Brady's like worst.
This is Tom Brady's worst
stats ever. Like,
yeah, this is Tom Brady's worst start and worst record and worst stats since 2002 is what I saw. Since he like pretty much entered the league.
So Tom Brady himself has 8 touchdowns.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's more than 5.
And then they have 10 touchdowns in total.
10 touchdowns? Okay. That's still not good through
8
7
passing,
weeks.
2 running it.
7 weeks of football and you have how many you said?
2 rushing touchdowns. 10 touchdowns in total.
Oh my god, that is terrible.
And then who's the best? What was it, Chiefs? Let's go see what the Chiefs have real quick. If I can go back here. Let me go back. The Chiefs have stats. Mahomes he has like 15, isn't it? He has 20 touchdowns. They have 27 touchdowns in total. So almost triple.
That's crazy.
That is insane. Mahomes has 20 touchdowns. That is insane.
Yeah, they're killing it. Next we got the Falcons at the Bengals. I know it's the Falcons and they've been pretty competitive in a lot of games, but this game made me feel like the Bengals are back to what they're doing. Again, take it a little bit with a grain of salt. It's the Falcons. They're probably not the best out there, but step in the right direction for the Bengals. Jamar Chase is that dude. Joe Burrow had like 350 yards at halftime or something passing. Just absolutely nuts. Real quick, I want to touch on the Falcons. Y'all are fucking stupid. These dudes are... No, Nick, please pull up the stats of the game. Mariota threw the ball like 13 or 20 times in that game. And they were down 21-0 at one point. Like, that should be the game to where you pass the ball 50, 60 times because you're down behind so far. But instead...
13.
Yeah. 13 pass attempts and you lose... Sorry. Baffling to me. Crazy. Makes no sense. Like, I get you want to stick to your run game because it's been working, but when you're down 21-0, stop running the fucking ball and throw it because you're going to continue to be down 21 points the whole game. That is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't get that at all. Yeah, I mean, Bengals were firing on all cylinders today. or Sunday.
I was just gonna say, I watched Red Zone, so I didn't really get to see a lot of the Falcons. I was just most of the Bengals. Like, I think it was like second play of the Bengals, whatever. Boom, it was a deep ball. I'm not sure who caught that one. Was that Tyler Boyd, maybe?
I think it was the Boyd touchdown.
He had a big bomb, and then next thing you know, they come back with the Bengals again, and I'm like, holy shit, fucking Jamar Chase, big bomb, and I'm like, well, this is not looking good. But honestly, I don't even recall seeing the Falcons on
no.
On the red zone, really.
I think they were
maybe
on
like
it
here
for,
and there.
Yeah.
But I didn't see touchdowns. I don't remember. I saw like a couple first down plays or something. And I'm like, wow. Like,
I know Tyler Algier had like
a good.
Yeah, Tyler Algier had like a 1 yard touchdown run. I saw this video on TikTok last night, and it was pretty much breaking down what I said. Like, why are you still running the ball, Falcons? You're down 21 to nothing. I think the Falcons, what it said was they took like they had a 8 or 10 minute drive to go down the field to score 7 points. Mm-hmm. And in 3.5 minutes, the Bengals drove down the field and scored 7 points, which pretty much negated the 10-minute drive they just had. So just not enough urgency on the Falcons side of the ball in that game. Like, I don't know if they were down 21-0 and they were just like, fuck it, let's get out this game. It's over. I don't know, but...
I think at the same time, like, again, the Falcons to me is like, that's a rebuilding team. Like,
yeah,
they're 3-4. They could maybe do something, maybe they couldn't, but I think the reality is, like, you got to accept the fact that, like, this is one of the bigger dogs in the AFC, and like, you're not that type of team. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Like, when you're playing the teams like the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Bills, like, those are the teams that when they're on, they're fucking on, and like, good luck stopping them. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
and I think too, they just don't have like the quarterback and not so much the wide receiver at the moment. Like, Drake London's shown signs, like, awesome, but like, they just don't have the weapons to air the ball out down like that to keep up with a dog.
I also
like
don't think Marcus Mariota is like that type of guy to
that's what I'm
air
saying.
It out 30 times, 40 times a game, and they're gonna win
not.
like 50-20. Like,
he's not.
But that's pretty much all I gotta say about that game.
Next, we got the Lions at the Cowboys.
This is gonna be a quick game. The Cowboys defense came to eat.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man!
They went crazy.
Every time they're on red zone, bam, was Dak Prescott throwing a little check down. They flip it back, bam. The Cowboys defense is sacking Jared Goff. I'm like, holy. Like, it was just crazy. I think they had 22 points in Yahoo, which is probably I think Yahoo might score defense more, maybe. I'm not too sure.
It was definitely something close to that on ESPN. I just, like, I don't get how the Lions can go from averaging 33 points a game and being the top offense in the league to getting shut out by the Patriots, going on a bye week, and then scoring 6 points against the Cowboys.
So in ESPN it was 19, and then I believe in Yahoo, I have them on Yahoo, it was 22.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like, they were just destroying. Like, it was not good. I think they had a couple picks too, right? 2 picks maybe?
Yeah. They went crazy.
Oh, I don't pull the stats up.
Yeah, the Lions, they just, like I said, I don't know how you go from being that high scoring.
They had 2 picks, 5 sacks. What's a FR? Fumble recovery, maybe?
Yeah.
3 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions, and 5 sacks.
God,
like, that was just a big day.
I mean, we expected this. Cowboys defense.
Also, too, I know he came back in the game, but it might be one to watch out for is Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, yeah.
Because he did go out with an injury. And although it's unfortunate, I was like, well, I did pick up Pollard, so I'm like, maybe this helps me out. But, yeah. But I think he ended up coming back in, so I'm not sure if he's good to go or if that's something to maybe watch.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, and one more in that same game, Amon-Ra St. Brown just came back from an injury a couple weeks ago and then had the bye week and then played this week. I think first drive had a catch and then was out with a concussion, so...
I will say he doesn't have a concussion, they said. They said it was because of new protocols, he had to be held out.
Gotcha.
But he's in the same boat as now Teddy Bridgewater was, where he doesn't have a concussion, but he still has to go for the whole protocol, which I think is kind of dumb, but that's just the new rules in place.
Yeah, with the whole Tua thing, they're just being more cautious. I will say, before this week started, every person that was taken out of a game for a concussion and entered the concussion protocol missed the following week. With that being said, last week Kenny Pickett went out with a concussion in the middle of his game last week against the Bucks. he ended up getting out of the concussion protocol and playing the following week. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown...
That whole thing was so weird to me how he got out of it because it made no sense. Like, they said Teddy and Tua couldn't practice last week when they were in the protocol.
But Kenny Pickett got to play.
But Kenny Pickett was practicing, and then he plays. I'm like, well, how does that work?
I don't know. It's all weird and gray areas now. But
I'm sure he'll be back, though, probably next week.
Yeah.
They play the Dolphins, so you're going to need him.
They're going to need him, yeah. Next, we have the 6-1 New York Giants at the Jaguars. Final score 23-17. Jaguars had a chance at the end. They had like a minute and 4 seconds to drive down the field and score.
A lot of penalties on that last drive. I remember they were flipping on it on red zone.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I was like, man, like they'd like stop them and then boom, there's a pass interference. Boom.
Yeah.
Roughing the passer or whatever it was. But also too, this was the game I wanted to talk about. This is the thing I was trying to mentioned earlier, and I said I'll talk about it later. Coach of the year. It is not who you probably think it is. I would assume this is Brian Daboll all day, right?
It's got to be Brian Daboll.
They got Nick Sirianni at first. Although, again, they're undefeated. I get it. But that team was meant to be good. I don't believe in giving awards to players that you think are supposed to be good. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to give it to Andy Reid or Sean McDermott every year.
Yeah.
To me, Coach of the Year is when you have a guy come in like Brian Daboll, go above expectations, and do something crazy, and that's what he is doing right now. They've lost one game. They're not undefeated like the Eagles are, but at the end of the day, did you come out here? Did you think they were going to be 6-1? No,
nobody did.
Anyone that says I saw this happening, you'd literally have to be a time traveler or insane.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: is Brian Daboll at least second?
Yeah, he's second, but I still don't agree with it.
No, I think he should be number one for sure. But
I think honestly, I'm not even myself. I might bet on this. Honestly, I think it's all day Brian Daboll.
I just wanted to make sure that they weren't disrespecting him that much and putting him at like 3, 4, or 5. Like
no, the top 3 is Sirianni, Brian Daboll, Robert Saleh, and then what is that? Top 5 would be Kevin O'Connell, Mike McDaniel, Sean McDermott at 6.
I do like that top 5 though.
Mike McCarthy, Sean McVay. I don't know how he's up here.
Yeah. I like the top 5.
And then Mike Vrabel.
Not necessarily in that order of the top 5, but I do like all the coaches that are in the top 5. I can get on board with all 5 of those.
But yeah, I just think, again, like I said, we've talked about it multiple times. The coaching is unreal for this team.
Oh, it's crazy. I don't get it. Because they're not that talented. Like, no disrespect to the Giants and Giants fans. Like, I know Janine's probably going to come at my throat for this. But, like, you got Saquon Barkley, stud, right? Your wide receiver core is just in shambles at the moment. You got a couple pieces on the defense here and there, but it genuinely, like, the only reason they're doing this good, I think, is it all comes down to coaching. Like, if Brian Daboll doesn't get every ounce of credit for this, blows my mind. You know what I mean?
Excuse me, I 100% agree. I just want to say, I'm not sure, like, they didn't really make any big moves in the offseason, right?
Not really. I mean, they drafted Kayvon Thibodeau, but that's because they had a high draft pick. They had a couple of draft picks in the first round.
They pretty much had almost the same team as who was the last coach? Joe Judge, right?
Yeah.
And look at the difference between this record now and what they had last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Night and day, they look competitive.
They added
an actual team that wants to play football.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's a couple pieces, but it's not like anything like insane.
At the end of the day, it's just a culture change, and it's working out beautifully. And
I want to say this too. I don't think Daniel Jones is a top 10 quarterback, but I definitely think he's top 20, top 15, and he is 100% winning these games for them and helping them win these games.
100%.
Whether or not you can maybe upgrade him, sure. That could be almost said about every quarterback. That's not fucking Mahomes and Josh Allen. You know what I mean? But
is it worth upgrading if he's winning you these games?
That's what I'm saying. He is winning these games, and I watch him play. Like, when I watch the Giants, it's Saquon Barkley running the ball. It's Daniel Jones running the ball, getting 5-10 yards. It's Daniel Jones passing it to no-name wide receivers, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is impressive what he's done and what he is doing.
This could be another team that I feel like and it's kind of crazy to think about, but should be in the sweepstakes for OBJ. You add OBJ, bring him back to New York, like that would be kind of crazy. And it's not like you don't need him. You know what I mean? You're dealing with injuries in your wide receiver core like crazy. You got Wan'Dale Robinson coming back from injury, who's looking pretty promising. So that helps. But you add somebody like OBJ, like I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
We just have a comment here. Janine says, "Name me 10 quarterbacks better than Daniel Jones."
Is she serious?
I think she's joking, but
Oh. He's definitely not in the top 10. I could easily name 10 quarterbacks better than Daniel Jones. I got you right here.
said,
You ready?
I'll give him props. I'll put him in the top 15, top 20, somewhere around there.
No,
She said
100%.
top 10 right now.
Top 10 right now? Okay. And this is no particular order. I'm just going at the names I see, right? So, I'd probably say Tua's probably better. Mahomes definitely better. Herbert better.
Allen.
I'm going up the list right now.
Okay.
I would say probably maybe Derek Carr's better. I would
None
say
of those
Aaron
quarterbacks.
Rodgers is better. Not at the moment, but he's definitely better. I would say Joe Burrow. I would say Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts.
Okay, I think Tom
Kyler
Brady's
Murray.
a little fucking disrespectful. Tom Brady's been shit, in my opinion.
No, I mean he is. But if you ask me right now, I have a team and all I need is a quarterback for a year, who am I taking? Tom Brady over Daniel Jones all day long. Without a thought.
As of right now, no.
I mean,
She said Herbert. I do agree. We've had this conversation before. I don't know, was it before we played? Yeah. Before we did this podcast, I was saying that Herbert isn't a top 10 quarterback in my opinion because half the time they're fucking losing games and he's just throwing it. He's essentially doing what the Falcons don't do. In my opinion. He just throws the ball in the fourth quarter, third quarter. Oh, my stats look great. Help me. Someone help me. And it's like, I don't believe it. You
No,
know what I mean?
yeah, and I definitely think he's on like the fringe of being in that conversation.
Talent-wise, yes, but just for his stats alone, I don't really give a fuck about that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things too. Are we legitimately like? Are we talking as a talent standpoint, a stat standpoint of where they're doing right now, or is it overall? I mean, those are things you got to take into account.
Right now, I'm putting Daniel Jones top 15 probably.
And
then when I say top 15, he could be borderline. I don't have a ranking in my head, but he could be like 12, 11, like right there.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'll probably go as far to say that right now, at the moment, and how everybody's playing, he's probably top 12. And I feel like that's good for considering where he was at last year. People probably had him at 30, 29. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's... Oh, Kirk Cousins on a bye. He's better. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple that you can take out that y'all can maybe disagree with, but I think there's also two more that are on a bye that I'm forgetting about that I would think are a little bit better. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's very borderline. Top 12 is where I'd probably put him in, which I feel like is still really good.
I mean, I don't hate your opinion in saying that you think he's top 10, but I would put him, like, in my opinion, 11, 12.
No, yeah,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disrespect her opinion for that.
And I don't think that's crazy that he's 2 spots down.
Yeah. Moving on, Giants, Jags. I just want to say Jags at the last second threw the ball at literally like the quarter inch of a yard line away from the end zone and could have tied it. Dude just needed to try to stick the ball across the plane and he didn't. I mean, granted, he had like 3 dudes on him, so he couldn't really do it. But they had a chance at the end. They almost put it off. 2 kind of upsetting losses for the Jags in the last 2 weeks. But props to the Giants. They played well. They came back like they always do in the fourth quarter. And, yeah, there's something special going on with the Giants right now for sure.
Kayvon Thibodeau, man.
Yeah. Moving on to the Colts at the Titans. I'm telling you, the Colts are fucking dog shit. The Titans are back. Derrick Henry's king.
It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with going forward next week with Matt Ryan now being on the bench and Sam Ellinger playing. Like, in my opinion, you got to get back to the basics and just pound the ball like 15, 20 times.
They should have been doing that to begin with.
That's what That's what I've been saying. I drafted this guy first overall for what fucking reason? Like,
Yeah.
he should be literally getting every touch, basically. Like, if you're throwing the ball, he should be out there for a check down. You know what I mean?
Look, we say it all the
Like,
time. If you
he's
have
gonna
a
touch
good
the
run
ball
game,
basically the most of the time.
yeah, if you have a good run game, it opens up the pass game. You have one of the best lines, essentially, in the league. They're not performing at the moment. You have one of the best running backs in the league who hasn't been able to perform because he hasn't really been getting the touches he needs to get him in that groove. Run the fucking ball. Michael Pittman will be open on a streak route after you run the ball 12 times down
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
you gotta
go back to
run
the
that
basics.
ball and get the play action going or something.
Yeah.
And with that, what is he, a rookie? Basically a rookie, he hasn't never played, right?
Who?
Never started, probably. That Sam Ellinger?
Yeah, he's never thrown a pass in a regular season.
That's what I'm saying. So he's basically a rookie. I don't think he's actually a rookie, right?
Mm-mm.
But he's basically a rookie. So you got to get him some help by just pounding the ball and
get him settled in.
basically doing the vanilla offense where it's like you're running the ball and then boom, play action, little short passes here and there. But yeah, I don't know. I think at this point, what is his name? Frank Reich. He's got to be looking over his shoulder because I think he might be on the hot seat. Whoever their GM is, I forget what his name is, Ballard or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
They got to be looking behind themselves because right now they probably are definitely on the hot seat. I would say.
Another team that's too talented that doesn't belong where they're at right now. You know what I mean? Like, just crazy.
100%. Especially with how weak that division is, or how weak it has been in years past. Like, this team should have been ready to dominate and 100%. Not looking so good.
Next, we got Packers at the Commanders. Probably another upset of the week. Aaron Rodgers.
Tyler Heineke starting in place for Carson
Wentz. Hey, Heineke is that guy. I'm telling you. I'll take Heineke over Wentz all day long. But, yeah.
Oh, I just want to say, too, going back to the Colts real quick, because it actually, matches up with the Commanders. Well, last season, I think it was the stat I saw, Carson Wentz threw 7 interceptions in total. Already this season, Matt Ryan has 9.
Yeah, they're just...
So, there you go.
They replaced him for another Carson Wentz. That's crazy. Which we all expected Matt Ryan to be a little bit better than Carson Wentz. I'm not saying he's best in the league, but he should have been better than Carson Wentz. But just not showing it this year. What are we doing with the Packers, Nick?
Selling. I don't think they're going to do anything, honestly. Like, if it honestly would take a miracle, because Aaron Rodgers just looks checked.
Yeah, he should have retired. Once Devontae left, he should have retired.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree at all. I don't know. It's tough to say because like their wide receivers don't look the greatest. They make plays here and there, and then sometimes they're just lost.
Yeah, but I genuinely feel like a lot of that is on Aaron Rodgers. Like he is so like, excuse me, he is so weird when it comes to like trusting his wide receivers, and I get that 100%. Like, not discrediting you for that, but like, mentor the fucking dudes. You know what I mean? Help them out, teach them, do something. You want to win at the end of the day, right? Put forth some effort. I feel like you said, he's just checked. He doesn't want to try. He doesn't want to try to win. He doesn't want to help the players get better. Like, you got a young wide receiver core that is talented. They need a little guidance.
I'm not sure if we ever talked about this on the podcast, but I know for a fact we talked about this before. How we talked about Aaron Rodgers coming back, and I remember I told you, like, is he just coming back for the money at this point? Because what the fuck is he playing for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has to.
Because I remember we were talking about him at the beginning. This was before the season started. And, like, we were saying, like, he has a bunch of unknown wide receivers. Like, what is the point in coming back when you lost your best weapon? And I think we also might have even discussed, too, did he know that Devontae was even going to be back? Or if he thought he was going to come back, that's why he came back? Like, or did he know he wasn't going to be there? Because...
I think I heard something a while back that he knew that Devontae wasn't coming back when he re-signed.
And that makes it even worse. Then why'd you come back? Because
I don't get it.
This team just doesn't look like it's going to do anything. I think we thought the NFC is weaker. Obviously, there's some really good teams in the NFC, it looks like right now. But at the same time, I just don't see them. They're not going to win a division. I think the Vikings are going to be running away at this in the next few weeks. You're going to see them just stacking the wins up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're already, 2-3 games ahead of them? Like, you got to do a lot of catching up.
You're going to lose that division. Now you got to look at the wild card. Well, the Giants, if they don't win their division, that's a wild card team. So that's what, one spot
Cowboys.
out of the two.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, even that could be another spot. So there's 2 out of 3 already done. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, where are you gonna find a way in? I don't know where. I don't know how. Even
Yeah.
the 49ers could make it in as a wild card team if the Seahawks keep playing the way
Rams
they do.
could
You know what I mean?
potentially make a push at the end of the year too and make it in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
like there's just a lot of uncertainty on this team, and I don't see where they're gonna go. I think one of the biggest mistakes in that franchise, it still doesn't make sense to me, was drafting Jordan Love as early as it did. Like, I'm all
Yeah.
for getting a quarterback in the waiting room, but like, you really drafted him in the first round when you could have gotten players to make the team better for the now instead of for the fucking next 10 years.
You know what I partially blame that on? I partially blame that on the fact that the higher ups in the Packers organization, whether it's the head coach, the GM, the owners, whatever. Granted, I know they're owned by like the people or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But like the head coach, the GM, I think it boils down to the reason why they drafted Jordan Love is because they did not know what the future held for Aaron Rodgers in his mind. Because every year it seems like we dealt with, is Aaron Rodgers retiring? Is he coming back? How long is he going to play for? Is he going somewhere else? What's going on with Aaron Rodgers? So I feel like they did that because they weren't secure in the thought of what is Aaron Rodgers doing? You know what I mean? So they thought, well, we need to get a young guy. If Aaron Rodgers plays, he can maybe teach him a little bit here and there, and he can learn from Rodgers. And then when Rodgers finally leaves, which seems like he's doing every year, we got our guy for the future. And just so happens Aaron Rodgers just played another 3 years, and that guy's just sitting there now. And now you look like a dumbass. I think that's what I feel. I blame it on that. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Aaron Rodgers just never knew what he was doing coming into every season, it seems like, which is crazy to me. But yeah, I would take the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Giants, the Cowboys, all of them in the playoffs over the Packers. I feel like it might be a hot take to say the Packers don't make the playoffs, but I'm cool with that.
I don't think it's a hot take because even
Yeah.
if they do make it, I feel like they're going to be one and done. Like,
Yeah,
they get in
100%.
and they get out. See you later.
Yeah. Shout out to the
Shout out
Commanders.
the Commanders, though.
Yeah. I played well.
Has some
Sure.
decent, like, little running plays there. They got Antonio Gibson going a little bit on some passes.
I will say real quick, I don't know how long Heineke's playing, but you remember how at the beginning of this year, the wide receiver core for the Commanders, it was Diami Brown's getting the ball, Curtis Samuel's getting the ball, Jahan Dotson's getting the ball, Terry McLaurin's getting the ball. I will say with Heineke back, you're going to see a lot more of Terry McLaurin. That dude's going to start to get force-fed. So I think he's going to get a lot more action, and that kind of ties into people that got fantasy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just something to look forward to, because I feel like with Heineke in, he trusts McLaurin a lot more and doesn't spread the ball as much as Wentz does. So you'll probably see him get a lot more yards and catches and touchdowns and things like that.
I will say, whatever quarterback they go with or whatever quarterback they potentially draft for the Commanders, they have a fun offense probably.
Oh, absolutely.
If they keep Antonio Gibson and they have James Robinson, that's a nice little 1-2 combo.
Brian Robinson.
They have Johan Dotson?
Yeah.
The first round pick, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. So it's like you got weapons. Is Logan Thomas still there? I believe he is, right?
He is dealing with injuries.
So it's like
He's
that's
still there.
then they have a decent O line, so it's like you can maybe make it work.
100%.
I think the big thing is their defense has been disappointing with those 4 or 5 first round picks on it.
First
Like,
round picks on the D line, bro.
it makes I don't know. That should be that team. If that team had like a defense like the Broncos, then maybe they'd be a lot better. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
their defense just isn't playing up to par, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Moving on next, we had the Jets at the Broncos. Broncos defensive game here, which I kind of expected. I think Nick expected.
Yeah, two of the best defenses in the league, basically.
Yeah, and no
What did I
Russell
say?
Wilson.
They're both top 5, top
Both
10.
top 5, something like that. No Russell Wilson.
I think Broncos
in
were
this
top
game.
5 and Jets were top 10. Prediction wise, you went with the Jets, I went with the Broncos, but I did say if Russell plays, because we were not sure if he's going to play, I went with the Broncos, but
Yeah.
can't go back on it.
Nope, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say about this game. Not a whole lot happened, but shout out to the Jets. They're 5-2. They're keeping it going.
I think the big thing was to just keep that run game going. You know what I mean?
I mean, James Robinson, sure, he's gonna fucking up.
Unfortunately, though, it cost them your running back, but that's That's just how it goes sometimes, you know?
Part of the game at the end of the day.
Again, we talked about it. 46 passing yards for Bryce Rippin. I think that's his first name, right? Bryce? Or Brett Rippin, sorry. Brett Rippin.
Brett Rippin, yeah.
46 passing attempts. You're not going to win very many games when you're passing it that many times, especially as a backup. So, again, not good.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, I just saw this tweet back to the Jets trade. The conditional 6th-round pick that the Jets traded to the Jaguars for James Robinson will become a 5th-round pick if the running back rushes for 600 yards this season. Robinson already has rushed for 340 yards and needs 260 more for the 6th to become a 5th. So they pretty much traded a 5th-round pick for James Robinson because there's no way he doesn't get 260 more yards on the season. So just something to shout out there. Which I will say, I don't think this week he probably won't be very featured in the offense. Granted, it's still early in the week, so he could be. But do we think this is going to be a James Robinson backfield? Or do we think this is going to be a 50-50 split? Or is it going to be Michael Carter's? You know what I mean? What do we think is going to happen with that?
I mean, my best assumption is that it'd probably be a James Robinson because you don't trade for the guy and not expect him to start. At the same time, it might be 50-50 to start out and then move on to full-time because he's got to still get the playbook in and all that. But I just think that it's going to be James Robinson because you've seen the talent of the guy. Michael Carter's showing a little bit of talent as well, but you don't trade for the guy as a one-year rental to not even play him. You know what I mean?
And I think Michael Carter's just a change of pace guy to me. Like, he's good at moments, and he's a good kind of little receiver back, but I think you need... I mean, Breece Hall's comparable...
Also, I just want to say real quick, the Bears are up 10-0 with 2 minutes left in the first.
I'm sorry, the Bears?
Yep.
Who would have thought
Justin
that
Fields
was going
had a rushing touchdown.
Nick!
I know, you told me.
Nick!
He just got one.
Real quick, we were talking about parlays, because you can't bet in Texas, stupid as fuck, so I always like to talk about parlays with Nick, and he always talks about them with me or whatever. And I was like, hey, what's the odds on Justin Fields getting a rushing touchdown? And it was like, the odds were like 4 or something, right? Like, the payout was 4.
Yeah, it was like $4 something like that.
And I was like, dude,
Mac
that's
Jones
kind of
has 0.5 passing yards, by the way.
Jesus. I was like, dude, that's kind of a sneaky little nice bet. Like, Justin Fields rushing touchdown, that might be possible. That's a good little payout. Throw $50 on it, something.
He's got so many passing yards right now. Not bad.
He's like, yeah, that's not bad, but I'm just kind of play it safe here. Fucking 30 minutes later, motherfucker's got a rushing touchdown. That's why I wish I could bet, because I'm telling you, my instincts are crazy. That's why I traded James Robinson for DeAndre Hopkins. Instincts are crazy. I knew he was getting traded to the Jets. I'm just saying. Anyways.
Yeah, okay.
I would have never guessed that.
Moving on here to the Texans and the Raiders here. I honestly don't really recall seeing this game on Red Zone.
So I actually watched a good bit of this game.
That Josh Jacobs is that guy and runs all over the fucking place. And I did see a few times where they showed the Texans quarterback David Mills, and he had a few.
He sucks.
Was like an interception, 2 interceptions, I think it was.
He sucks. Raiders had a pick 6 at one point. Now, a couple of things on this game. Like, Raiders need to re-sign Josh Jacobs, in my opinion. He's doing great things for him. He's a good running back.
He had 143 yards on 20 attempts, 7.2 an average, 3 TDs. That man is just built different.
Yeah. I was telling Nick earlier, he's on pace for 1,794 rushing yards this season. So, just absolutely crazy.
Devontae Adams, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 95 yards, 11.9 a catch.
Just
basically almost 100 yards a game. That team just looks different.
They're starting to play like they should have been playing. They're starting to get there. So they could.
I've said it before, man. Their record is just not how they should be.
No, 100%.
They're better than that record, but they just haven't found a way to win those games, which is unfortunate.
Real quick, I just want to say on the Texans, this game was 20-17 at the half, I believe. Texans were winning, and then Raiders scored a touchdown. Texans went down, threw a pick 6. Then they started to turn into the Texans. So it seems like the Texans are just always getting these good starts. But no, I
they're a good first half team, and then they shut it off.
I don't think Davis Mills is the guy. He is not good. I'm sorry. I know a lot of Texans fans seem to think he's the guy. I don't think he's the fucking guy.
CJ Stroud's right there. You got Bryce Young.
Number 1
pick.
Take
your pick.
Yep. We out here. We also got the Browns number 1 pick, so they're 2-5. Might be.
Really, you go get both of them. Battle out in training camp.
And then trade the other one away.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That was what people were saying about drafting. Remember how we traded the Texans pick and it was like a top 3 pick? That's what people were saying about Tua. Because he drafted Tua the year before.
Yeah.
And then people were like, oh, well, you have Tua. Go draft another quarterback, and whoever wins. And I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. Like, what are we playing, Madden?
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, next we got the Seahawks at the Chargers. Kenneth Walker, man. I've said it before. I've said it so many times. This dude's a fucking animal. Chargers are just in shambles, man. Like, way too talented to be losing. Seahawks have a competitive team, which nobody expected at all. Their run game's going pretty good. Geno Smith's not making too many mistakes.
I don't think it's fair to say nobody expected it. Because they do, when you look at that team, you do have some pieces. Like, you got Noah Fane at tight end. Not bad. You got Rashad Penny was the running back after Chris Carson retired. You had Tyler Lockett, who we've always said is a boomer bust, like, literally the boomer bust definition of fantasy. And then you had DK Metcalf. So it's like you had some players, obviously filling in the shoes of Russell Wilson we thought was going to be a big deal, but apparently it's not because Geno Smith can come in there and just do exactly what he was doing.
I think that's
I don't even know if it's like a fraction. It's probably like more than like 10%, like 20% of the cost.
That's more of what it is for me. Is I never expected Geno Smith to do this. Like you said, the Seahawks are talented, but I didn't expect this. They're playing good football on both sides. I mean,
that's definitely fair. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. But
flipping to the other side of the ball, though, or other side of the @ sign. The Chargers, man, holy shit. Like, just disappointing, honestly. Like, you talked about it in, like, before. We talked about it plenty of times. Like, they just, I don't know. It's like we thought they were going to be so much better than they are. And like I've said it multiple times, like, Justin Herbert, talent-wise, yeah, you can put him top 10 all day long. But for whatever reason, they just can't win. They don't find ways to win. No matter what the games look like, they just can't fucking win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's just like I don't understand what's going on with this team. Like, no matter who they sign, it seems like they just don't work.
Yeah,
and then they get hurt.
Sign.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at J.C. Jackson. He wasn't doing very well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you sign these guys, and then they don't do anything. Like, like what the fuck was the point?
No, 100%.
It's mind blowing in my opinion. Like,
yeah, they need to figure it out quick because they're way too talented. And in my opinion, if it keeps going this way, you got to think that Brandon Staley's on the hot seat because you have way too much talent on your roster.
I mean, he's been there for what, 3-4 years now? Like,
something like that. I think it's like 2 or 3 years.
I wouldn't be shocked if some coaches are starting to get fired here, looking at being fired. Like,
not the way, especially the way it is nowadays, Nick. Like, you got to look at it. All these teams are turning into the let's win now and win for 1 or 2 years, and then we reassess the situation. Like, when they're making all these moves in the offseason to get these rosters to make them competitive and win divisions and keep up with the Chiefs and the Bills and those teams. And it's like when you can't succeed,
I think the big thing is, real quick, I'm just going to say, is like a lot of these owners are like 80 years old. Yeah. They don't have fucking 10. Oh, I'll give you a Super Bowl in 10 years. Motherfucker, I'm 80. I'm going to be 90. I'm going to be dead probably.
I mean, I
want to see one now. Like, I'm alive. I want to see one. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
That to me is probably why these time horizons are as fucked as they are. And like, it may not be fair to some teams, to some coaches, but that's just the reality of it is. Like, a lot of these guys are in their 80s, 90s. They're not 40, 50 years old where they have like, yeah, I can give you 20 years. You go get me a Super Bowl then. You know what I mean?
I never thought about it that way, but yeah.
That's what I always think about, because whenever I see Steven Ross, the guy's like 80-something, 88, and I'm like, yeah, like, if you don't win now, he's probably going to fire because he's not going to be here the next 10 years. Like,
yeah, no, for sure.
And I can guarantee you that a lot of people say, "Oh, this owner doesn't want to win," but you're just stupid if you go into business. These are all business guys. At the end of the day, they're not in the business of losing money. They're in the business of making money. You make money when you're the best team in the league.
Yep.
The Chiefs went from one of the most unknown, nobody gives a shit about them, to one of the best teams.
Yep.
In a matter of a span of what? Couple years. I remember they're Alex Smith. No one really cared about them. And then bam, next thing you know, they're winning. They won the Super Bowl. They go back to another Super Bowl. They lose it, and like now.
Yeah.
Their merchandise is probably selling off the charts. Pat Mahomes jerseys are probably everywhere. Like, and that's what all these other owners want at the end of the day, and all these other coaches, GMs, players. That's what they want to do. They want to win.
Want a Super Bowl, yeah. So again, yeah. With that being said, I mean, you don't have a big time.
I'll ask you a question. Who do you think is the next coach to fire? We already have one. Who do you think is the next one?
Let me look real quick.
Because even look at the Browns. That could be one. Kevin Stefanski. I could see maybe you see what happens with Deshaun Watson, right? Maybe
I feel like if that happens, that's a next
Deshaun
season
Watson.
thing.
That's what I'm saying, but he's definitely one to look forward to look at because if he and Deshaun Watson don't get it together, then bam, he's gonna be gone. The Panthers already fired their coach.
Honestly, bro, hot take, like. I would not be surprised. Matt LaFleur with the Packers.
Matt LaFleur? I mean, yeah.
Or Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich's probably the next one right now. Like,
yeah, I definitely think it would be Frank Reich if it's anyone. That was probably my pick. Brandon Staley might be like 2, maybe 3. But
yeah.
It'd definitely be the top 3, probably Frank Reich, Matt LaFleur, and then Brandon
just not
Staley.
Performing. Yeah. Next, we got the Chiefs.
Surprising one right here is the 49ers. Maybe Kyle Shanahan. I would not be shocked.
I don't know if I can get on that boat quite yet. I think he's okay.
I think he's okay, but
I think something
maybe next year.
I don't know. Something we forget about, Nick, is think about the times like the 49ers make the playoffs. They're always making a push late, right? Because
I mean, I can get it, but they went to a Super Bowl already. They lost it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
They lost the conference championship. At the end of the day, it's like people. I respect it. Like you're winning, it makes sense. Like you want to keep them, but at the end of the day, if you're not getting over that hump, then it's like you're gonna get fired.
Yeah, and if you're not getting that full potential that your team should be at, then yeah, I get it. The Chiefs, this game was what, 17-0 49ers, and then the Chiefs.
This was a really close game. Like I said, you had McCaffrey was getting the ball, catching it, running it. They looked like, okay, like, yeah, let's go. And then next thing you know, like, you flip the channel, boom, it's 44. Like, yeah. What?
I will say, I told Nick when this game started, me personally, it looks like McCaffrey belongs in a 49ers uniform. Like, I don't know what it is, but he looks like he belongs on that team.
Yeah, he definitely looked nice in the 49ers jersey. But the crazy thing to me was the 49ers defense. It did not look like the number 1 defense.
Not in the slightest bit at all.
Travis Kelce had almost 100 yards receiving. I want to say it was like 95 yards maybe.
6 catches, 98 yards.
Yeah, really close. Pat Mahomes, they were backed up on like a couple third downs, and like Pat Mahomes like unleashed a cannon, like a bomb to fucking Juju. He scored a touchdown off of it. There's another one that was like a 3rd and 11 that they converted as well, and I'm like, man, like you got one of the best defenses in the league. Like you have to like get off the field at these points in the game.
Oh, 100%.
Especially considering if they got out of those ones, like they got off the field, then it probably would have been a lot closer. Because it wasn't until like this third quarter, like second, thirdish quarter, was like where they started putting the points on.
That's when it started to open up a bit.
But man, like that was hard to watch for the 49ers, if you're a 49ers fan.
Yeah, and that's not something you want to look forward to, especially if, in 49ers fans' eyes, they're probably a favorite to make the playoffs and potentially a favorite to make the Super Bowl just because how they tend to play in the playoffs. They play really well. So potentially in some people's eyes, not mine, this could be a Super Bowl matchup. So that's not what you want to see. You know what I mean? Because that's just
I think
40-23 in the Super Bowl. Yikes.
I was gonna say real quick. A big thing too. I didn't really think of it, but Peter Schrags, is that his name from the NFL
Yeah.
Network? Peter Schrader, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He made a pretty good point that this was probably a game that the 49ers had circled on the calendar, being that I think this was the first time they played them since the Super Bowl loss, right?
Oh, really?
And I was like, that actually is probably a good point, that they probably were looking forward to playing this game, and like, you
Shit the
just
bed.
you got a big 40 bomb right on the forehead and like, good night, sleep
Yeah.
tight type of thing. And it's like that does make sense, because if you remember in the Super Bowl, they were winning that game as well, and they gave up a couple big plays and ended up losing it. And it's like that really was like a kick in the nuts again.
Yeah.
Like you
Hurts the pride.
like
I will say,
it sucks.
I can't wait next week to see the 49ers and how they start to game plan McCaffrey now that he's in the offense more and learns the playbook more. So I'm excited to see what that brings. By the way, I just realized that we didn't even talk about the Christian McCaffrey trade, just because it's kind of old news to us. Granted, I know it happened like last week, but we
it wasn't. I think it was like a second and third, wasn't it?
yeah, it was the second, third, fourth, and then a fifth the next year. I think it was.
Yeah, essentially it wasn't a lot, but definitely a good trade. I think.
I think it's a good trade both sides. I mean, Panthers got what they needed.
Like Panthers get a little bit of some draft resources. They can move up or down in the draft now.
And then 49ers get a running back, a good one at that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we always said, like, that they have good running backs, they just get hurt.
Yeah, and
like, they drafted them really well. Like, you have Mitchell, they had Raheem Mostert, he got hurt.
Yeah.
Trey Sermon, he showed potential when he was there. It seems like they can make running backs almost out of anyone.
100%. I mean, look at Jeff Wilson Jr. He does pretty well.
Exactly. He was holding it down until now he's basically a backup now. It's
unfortunate for him. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the 49ers offense looks like.
I think it's a big weapon. Like, you got George Kittle, you got McCaffrey now, and then you got Deebo Samuel. Like, that's a lot of like ways you can scheme these guys up. You can put McCaffrey as a wide receiver. You can bring Samuel in as a running back. Like,
you can put Kittle in as a running
Mac
back.
Jones
lead
just
block,
threw a pick. I just put the game on, and
yikes.
It was an underthrown ball.
All right, let's try to get through this. Next, we got the Steelers at the Dolphins on Sunday night. Dolphins started out pretty hot, looking pretty fiery on the first drive, and then kind of slowed down. Tua's first game back. He looked pretty good, getting his feet wet again, being out 3 weeks, coming back, getting a dub.
I think a lot of people's expectations kind of changed after that first drive. I know a lot of people are like, okay, no Russ, he's going to put up like a 40 bomb.
Yeah.
I personally think that they were going to do a lot better than they did, but I also, at the same time, I understand it's 3 weeks away from like playing professional football. Like, that's a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially when they're not practicing, because he wasn't practicing, wasn't throwing the ball, wasn't doing anything physical, basically. So it's like, just to come back and 1 week of practice and like pretty much, I guess like a week and a half of practice, and then go back out there and then do what you did. I mean, it's not bad. Obviously, there was a lot of missed throws. I think at the end of the day, like, people were, if you keep track of the stats, it was like 3 drop picks or something like that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't really care though. Like, he made some throws, he made some bad throws. Also, too, I think there was a couple of plays that I felt like Verby were held. Especially the one on the Jaceki. That one, to me, didn't look like it was Tua's fault, I would say, because it's like he threw it right there and Jaceki wasn't being like held back. It's probably a catch. If not, like, at worst, it's a contested catch and a contested catch and just gets like batted down type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about it. I think Tua's going to come back and be fine.
Yeah, they should have a good confidence builder game coming up this week against the Lions. So that should definitely help.
My bad.
You're good.
Yeah, this is the easy part of the Dolphins schedule here. I think they have the Lions. I forget what I told you it, but it was like the Lions, what was it? It was the Lions, the Bears, and then like the Texans, I think.
Yeah. So a pretty easy schedule coming up. So hopefully.
Yeah, Lions, Bears, and then Browns, and then they have a bye week, and then they play the Texans.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's like you got some must-win games, and then like not being disrespectful or anything, but those are games that you have to win and probably should win.
100%.
Like, there's just no way that you lose to these type of games.
Especially with
Also,
Tua being back.
Also, too, I want to say I think Mike McDaniel is like, I think he's looking really good as a head coach, but I think this is probably one of his worst games as a head coach.
Okay.
Like, his play calling probably wasn't up to par. And like I said, the fact that Tua probably wasn't 100%. Like, I felt like maybe you could rely on your run game a little bit more, because Raheem Mostert was popping off when he was getting the ball.
He was killing it.
But then there was like that third down that they ran it with Chase Edmonds. He doesn't even get a yard. It was like 3rd and 3. They go for it on 4th and I think it was like 4th and 2, maybe 4th and 3. He basically ran the same play, and Chase Edmonds again doesn't even get a yard. Basically, got stuffed.
Yeah.
And that to me is like wasn't a good play call. Like, I don't think Chase Edmonds is that type of guy. And like, you had Raheem Mostert, who looked really good, like vintage Raheem, and he wasn't given the ball in like that opportunity. Like, that's kind of, I was like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was probably more of a playing it safe game, knowing Tua's still getting his feet wet, maybe not trying to get too like creative and crazy with play calls. I mean, I still think he should have to kind of win the game and make better calls in the situations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think he'll be fine. He just probably, like I said, just playing it a little safe this game, kind of letting Tua figure things out, get back into the rhythm of things. And I think, like I said, they'll have a good confidence builder game this week against the Lions. I would think Tua looks a lot better, and they kind of put a big forehead or big points on the line. You know what I mean, like 30 plus. So we'll see.
I mean, the Lions. I don't know. I think they were the worst defense. I think they probably still are, if not like right there.
Yeah.
So it definitely should be a game where you're looking like this is going to be a big game for pretty much all of our weapons. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
we put up like 25 points, 30 points. Like, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Steelers. They're still struggling.
At this point, they're just playing for the future. This is a team that I'm not like shocked that they're doing so bad with the question marks at quarterback coming into the season, but they do, when you look at their team on paper, they do have talent. Like Freiermuth as a tight end. Najee Harris was your second-round pick, first-round pick, I can't remember.
First-round pick.
They have Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. Like, this was a team, and then they drafted George Pickens. This was a team people probably were like, okay, like, you got a little bit of talent. Let's see what you can do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then on top of it, you have Mike Tomlin. Sorry, I was going to say Mike McDaniel. Mike Tomlin. And again, that's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's never had a losing season at this point in his career, I believe, and it looks like he is on
pace for
track to have one. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely a little bit different watching the series. Like, wow, like this is what they've come to, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't think it's the end of the world. I think if Kenny Pickett can build off of his game that he had against the Dolphins, then they'll probably be all right.
I think this is a good season for Pickett to just get some reps in the NFL and get used to being an NFL quarterback. You know what I mean? He's not looking
develop
terrible.
that chemistry,
Yeah.
get that synergy going with the team. And at the end of the day, it's like, what can he do?
Yeah, no, 100%.
If he ends up being a quarterback, he ends up being the quarterback. If not, then he gave it his best shot.
I just got some news, Nick. Bailey Zappi is entering the game for the Patriots.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So,
They really benched Mac Jones?
Mac Jones might have got benched.
I don't know if he got benched or if
I didn't
if they
see
pulled him
anything.
I have the game pulled up, but I've been flipping back and forth, so I don't know if he got benched.
Yeah.
He looks like he's got benched because he's wearing his helmet still.
So Adam Schefter tweeted an hour ago and said, it would not be a surprise to see both Patriots quarterbacks Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi play tonight. And then he quoted it saying, Bailey Zappi entering the game. So I don't know if
That's
it's
insane.
just because he's playing bad. I don't know what it is. Like
Well,
I
he
said,
did have a bad pick, so.
Yeah.
But the guy made an insane catch, I'll say. He had like a one-handed catch for the Bears.
We're filming the podcast right now, so I'm not able to watch it, so I don't really know exactly what's going on. But Bears are still up 10-0 right now, and Bailey Zappi's in the game, so maybe
again, it's only 11 minutes left in the second half here. First half, I guess.
They get a touchdown
second quarter.
back.
So it's like, yeah, it's not do or die yet, but definitely expect better. Just speaking real quick, we bet on not bet on, but we both picked the Patriots to win this game.
Yeah.
So right now it's not looking great, but again, it's only first half. Anything can happen at the end of the day.
I just want to say real quick on the predictions for me and Nick, I've come within 2 games. So we're back. We're pretty much tied at this point, right? You know what I mean? So get another good
Pretty
week.
much.
Get another good week of predictions, and I'm back in it. We out here. I'm going to take the lead this week, Nick. I'm taking the lead. With that being said, you ready to get into
First
week 8
drive with
predictions?
Bailey and Zappi in is looking nice right now. They're
I'm
driving down the
telling
field.
you, I think he's better than Mac Jones, man.
I think the thing is Mac Jones is probably better right now, but I feel like his ceiling isn't much better than what we're seeing now. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
I think like the way people used to talk about it is like Mac Jones is better than Tua, but to me he's like a worse version of Tua that it's like he's not gonna make players better and he's not gonna throw those big plays. Like he's just gonna be like
get what you get with him, and that's it. Like you're never gonna be.
Yeah, like he might be a starter somewhere, but maybe it's in New England, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Belichick might realize, hey,
and just like that,
what?
New England just scored a touchdown.
I'm telling. Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick might realize, hey, this offense looked pretty good with Bailey Zappi out there.
If it's not a touchdown, it's gonna be like right on like the 1 yard line.
We're 3-3. We got a chance at this division still, or the wild card. You know what I mean? So he might be making a change, taking a chance. All right, let's get into week 8 predictions, Nick. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to get through these real quick.
All right.
Thursday night, Ravens at Buccaneers. Who you got?
I'm taking the Ravens.
The way Lamar's playing, I don't know, man. Both these quarterbacks are kind of question marks to me. I'm kind of leaning towards the Bucs because of their defense right now, but I don't know. Does Lamar have a good game? I'm gonna say maybe. I'm gonna go Ravens. I don't think he's gonna have a great game, but he might be able to do enough to win the game because Tom Brady's lost in the fucking sauce.
Yeah, he really is. Next, we got Broncos at the Jaguars.
Oh, this is so fucking
This is in
ass.
London, 8:30 in the morning. This isn't ass. You take the Jaguars all day long. They've lost 2 bad games in a row. They come out and put up 30 against the Broncos.
Russell Wilson comes on and just puts up like a 40 ball.
I swear to God, dude, I'm going to lose.
I'm gonna
this
go
shit.
Jaguars, but it'd be definitely like a Russell Wilson situation to just come in
Nah, I
and
hear you.
bam.
Next, we got Panthers at the Falcons. Who you got? Panthers coming off the dub against the Bucks.
Oh, man. It's a close game, I feel like.
100%. And a
Division game. 2 teams that are kind of eh. I'm going to go Panthers. I think the Panthers defense is nice.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Panthers too. They just look a little bit better, which is surprising to say, than the Falcons. All right, next we got Bears
I already
at the
locked
Cowboys.
it in for you, Cowboys.
Cowboys, yeah. Unfortunate, I have to pick them, but it's whatever.
There's just no way you can bet on the Bears.
Next we have Dolphins at the Lions. I'm taking the Dolphins.
You already know. Next. Fins
Cardinals,
up.
Vikings. I'm taking the Vikings.
I can't type fast enough. Vikings as well for me.
All
I
right.
think Kirk Cousins comes out of the bye and they're going to look fresh.
Yep. Fresh and rejuvenated. Raiders and the Saints. I'm going to take the Raiders.
I'm going Raiders as
Their
well.
run game is working very well, and Derek Carr is not making any mistakes. He's playing well.
I
Next
just
we have-
don't know like what's going to happen at the quarterback position for the Saints.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If the Raiders show up the way that I expect them to, that's 28 points, I just think. 25 maybe, whatever, somewhere around there. Can the Saints match that? Probably not.
And we still, is it going to be Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston? We still don't really know, so.
I would assume it'd be Andy Dalton. The team looks better with him in there, but
Yeah.
I mean, that just depends.
100%. Next, we have the Patriots at the Jets, which
Could be a close game, honestly.
it really could, but the Patriots are known for shutting down what you do best, so.
I'm going to go
Is-
Patriots. They're
is
going to
it
shut
gonna-
that run game down, and it's going to end up in
It's-
Zach Wilson's hands.
End
And
up in Zach Wilson's hands.
I think
huh?
Zach Wilson's going to get exposed here.
You know what? I'm riding the Jets train. I picked them last week. I'm picking them again. Jets.
All right. Like I said, I think they're going to shut down that run game. Like we've talked about it before. They
yeah.
shut down what you do best. That
Yeah.
run game is going to get shut down. They're going to stack the box, and they're going to dare Zach Wilson to beat them with those wide receivers.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree completely, but I'm kind of taking a shot in the dark there and taking the Jets.
Plus, also too, I just want to say real quick, Breece Hall's out, so I don't think James Robinson's going to get the majority of the carries this game. I feel like it's going to be like a McCaffrey situation. Like he's going to get in there, but it's not going to be every touch. So
no, you're probably right.
it's going to be probably Michael Carter. Is he going to be able to fill in the shoes of Bryce Hall? I don't know.
Steelers at the Eagles. Eagles take this 7-0, baby.
I don't see them losing a game this season, honestly, unless they play the Giants. But they haven't played them yet, so I don't know.
They play them later in the year. I think like week 14 and like 18 or something like that.
Exactly. I see them losing one of those games or against the Cowboys again, but we have to wait. But right now, I think they're going to go 7-0, like you said.
Titans and the
Division
Texans.
Game.
I'm taking the Titans, which for some reason I would not be surprised if the Texans beat them, but I'm taking the Titans.
I'm going to take the Titans as well. Like I said, it's a division game. You can see anything happening.
Yeah.
Commanders at the Colts.
I'm taking the Commanders. I'm riding the hot hand with Taylor Heineke.
I'm going to go Commanders as well. I bet on the Colts too many times.
Yeah, that's true.
49ers at the Rams. I'm going with Niners.
I'm going Niners. CMC in this offense is going to be too much for the Rams defense.
He's going to... I mean, what did he go for? He went to Stanford, whatever it was. They always talk about it.
He's
got that degree. He's going to fucking learn that playbook overnight.
Oh, yeah.
He's got it on lock.
He probably already learned it, but Kyle Shanahan didn't trust him enough that first week to give him the ball. He probably already knows it. But, yeah. Next, we got Giants at the Seahawks. Oh.
I'm going with the G-Men all day. I bet on them like the most, I think, out of all of us.
You know what? Seahawks hand out the second loss for the Giants. I'm taking Seahawks.
You're going Seahawks?
Surprisingly. Yeah. Geno's playing great. Kenneth Walker's that dude. Seahawks win this. Next we have on primetime, Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen. Packers at the Bills. Taking Bills all day. Yo, are the Packers about to lose 4 in a row? When has that ever happened?
Bills are not losing.
Bills are not losing. No chance.
Bengals, Browns, I'm going Bengals.
Bengals. What do we only disagree on 2?
Ravens, same. The Jets game, I took Patriots, you took Jets. And you took Seahawks, I took Giants. You get to win both those games.
I got the potential to tie this week. Let's go.
And I got the potential to extend it to 4 now.
Yeah. All right. I like it. Yeah. That's gonna wrap up our week 8 predictions. I don't have anything else. It was a touchdown to Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Somebody tweeted the ball's on Bill Belichick. This is the right move to make.
I don't disagree, honestly.
No, I like it. It's got me almost wanting to go down there and watch the game now. Might have a good game. We'll see. But yeah, with that being said, that's going to wrap up our episode 11. I don't have anything else. Nick, you have anything?
Shout out to anyone that watches, subscribes, likes, follows, comments, all that. It means the world to us. Again, we don't get paid. We just do this for free and for the love of the sport and our passion, basically.
Yep. I love it.
I just switched back here, and it looks like Justin Fields threw a pick, so.
Nice. And the Patriots are back. Nick. I forgot to mention. Teams on bye next week on week 8. Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, we're short 2 games, yeah.
Yeah. So, no, short 1 game.
Well. Or, yeah, 1 game, sorry. One game.
So, yeah. We also do have a London game at 8:30. So, anybody that watches this, or 8:30 a.m. for me, anybody that watches this podcast, make sure to set your fantasy lineups Saturday night. Get ready for the game. It's going to be an early game, so just be prepared for that.
Yeah, I don't want to start Alvin Kamara again.
Yeah, don't do that. All right, yeah, that's all I got. Again, like Nick said, appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Y'all have
another good weekend of football.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one. Peace.